We're embarking on week 3 in the NBA. So let's take a look how it breaks down. How do we take advantage of it? How do we maximize our games played? Who's got good schedules? Who's got bad schedules? And who has got Michael Bolton?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and today we are all Dylan Cardwell. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. We're ready for week 3 in the NBA. I am recording this before Game 7 of the World Series. And many of you will know that I am a Padres fan. My son is obsessed with the Padres, so I've been converted into being a Padres fan. I did, back early in my non-baseball knowing days, used to be a Blue Jays fan. And honestly, I sort of do want them to win the World Series. But I am, if you can see, I am wearing a Dodgers jersey. Now that, as a Padres fan, that is a tough thing to do. But it's because of my mate, Evan Phillips, who is a fan of the show. He sent me his own. I don't think many people got Evan Phillips jerseys. He sent me, as I tried to show you, the number 59 here. He's not playing. Obviously, he's had his Tommy John surgery. There you go. You can see the 59. Why is he not working very well? There you go. Number 59. Got my Evan Phillips jersey on because I want him to get another ring for the Dodgers this season. So shout out to you, Evan. I hope your team wins, but I also hate the Dodgers. But I hope that you win. And thank you. Thanks for the jersey. All right, we're here to talk week 3 across the NBA. I'm sure Toronto people will take that really well as well. We're here to talk week 3 in the NBA. So let's talk about week 3 in the NBA. Let's talk about how the schedule plays out. And as we've mentioned many times, the further along we get into the season, the more important streaming focus is versus longer term stash. We're still in the long term stash period, and usually the good cutoff for that is when we're at Thanksgiving. And then, or maybe even these days, we can look at the end of the NBA Cup. And then we transition more from longer-term stashes into more heavily, or transitioning more into heavy streaming sort of options. Now, you might be a heavy stream guy only in your private life on the weekends. Up to you. But for now, we talk streaming, but we're also understanding that we're looking for more longer-term plays. We still don't, by the way, have any diagnosis on Trae Young. No idea. Anthony Davis is missing a few games with a calf strain, which is never a good sign. It is a precursor to Achilles injury, so we hope nothing bad happens there. We got the news today that Demetrius Morant is suspended for 1 game for being a bitch. Apparently, that's not the official wording. It's conduct detrimental to the team. He was clearly being just so petulant, and I don't know what's going on with that team. Both him and Jaren Jackson looked like they were deliberately just not involving themselves. He's had the comments after the game, Morant, just putrid stuff. Honestly embarrassing stuff from Morant in particular, but even Jaren's on-court play. Like really, really bad to see that stuff post-game. We are here. It is week 3, so we'll get into a little bit more. Let's talk the schedule. Let's see how that stuff plays out for the week. I don't think that I hit the right button there, but that's okay. We can hit the right button again now because I do want to make sure I'm getting it correct. It's the same. It doesn't matter. Who cares? We're good. This week, you will notice a little polar bear in Arlington type stuff there. One of these days really stands out as weird. We've got nice start. 9 games Monday, 6 games on Tuesday, 11 games on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday. 1. 11 games on Friday, 8 on Saturday, and 7 on Sunday. I'm not sure if you caught it. There's 1 game on Thursday. What are we doing? Oh, the high-powered Suns-Clippers matchup. What are we doing? Is there something I'm missing here? Is there a high-powered Thursday night football game on? There's not, because they're always terrible. What am I missing for Thursday? Why is there 1 game on? And bookended by 2 11-game days. Annoying. Really, really, really annoying that is the way that the schedule is shaping up for the week. And I like it. As you know, once we go over 10 games, streaming becomes difficult. So we've got 2 days which are going to be tough for us to try and stream through. Let's take a look at how the games played work out. Now, it is overall, despite despite us having a one-game day, we do have more volume this week than we had last week in total games. We have 17 teams this week that play 4 games. We have 12 teams that play 3, and we have one team, the Charlotte Hornets, that play 2 games. I'll tell you who plays the 3 games. It's Atlanta, Chicago, Cleveland, the Lakers, the Pelicans, the Knicks, the Magic, the Suns, the Blazers, the Spurs, the Raptors, and the Jazz have 3 games. The Hornets have 2 games, and then all the other 17 teams play 4 games. And if you're watching the video, you can go ahead and pause this and look at it. It shouldn't be that hard to find out. I don't need to roll through all of those teams, but that is where we're at. So last week we had 15 teams play 4 games. This week we've got 17. So again, just a few extra games this week. Not a big difference, but just a few extra games this week. I think it's 2 extra games, but that can be important. But it is scheduled differently. Last week we had a situation where basically every day was a streaming day. This week, or especially the second half of the week, this week we don't have that. That is not the way that this is shaping up. Well, it's not the way it's shaping up. It's not the way that it is, because it can't be any different to this. So let's go in and look at quality games. Let's go in and approach the stream zone and see how we can best take advantage of this from a fantasy perspective. Who has the good quality games? Who's got the better schedule? Because we know that games total is important, but it's not the be-all and end-all. First of all, 5 streaming days. You can already work out what they are. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, with 1 game on, and then the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Obviously, Thursday, not a good streaming day with only 1 game on, but you can do it. Wednesday and Friday, look at your own rosters. You might be able to stream. So the advice that I'm going to give here, or the discussion that I'm going to give regarding streaming and quality games for the week, is working under the assumption that on Wednesday and on Friday, you will have already 10 active guys on your roster to play. And adding or burning a move to just switch guys out, unless there is long-term appeal in that move, it's useless. Switching out your 10th guy to get someone who might, I'll just use fantasy points as an example, who might give you 2 extra fantasy points, is pointless. What you want to do with moves is turn players or turn situations where you can move from a 2-game player into a 4-game player, getting you 50 extra fantasy points. Using an ad to squeeze 2 extra points because you think the guy's going to be better for 1 game is useless. Now, if you're doing it because there's a big injury in Nickeil Alexander-Walker and you're adding him, you're doing it for the long term. And that doesn't matter if the guy that I'm dropping plays this same day. Who cares? Longer term thinking. The Clippers have the best schedule this week. Last week they had the worst. They had 2 games. This week they got 4. But 4 on the low volume days. And both the Clippers and the Suns have this interesting little schedule quirk where they play Tuesday, they play the 1-game Thursday, and they play Saturday. We'll talk about if that is super important or how we can overrate that or not. The Suns, for example, again, when we look on the surface, they only have 3 games. But Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, all 3 of their games are low volume days, which is the equivalent of many of the 4-game teams. And in fact, many of the 4-game teams only play on 2 low volume days. So of their 4 games, one of them is on Wednesday and one of them is on Friday. So their schedule is worse than one of the 3-game teams. And it's equivalent to a bunch of the 3-game teams. But then you look at the Spurs, for example, playing 3 games, 1 streamable game. So you're looking at, Jalen Tyson was really good for the Cavs. Well, you might use him once next week. Useless, pointless. Not worth that switch because of that value. Or you look at Miami with 2 quality games out of 4. Memphis, you're going to try and do something because you think Jara is going to sit out more games, he's going to be traded, and they're going to go with Cam Spencer. Well, they only played 2 quality games next week, so it's not all that exciting. These 4 teams, Cleveland, the Spurs, the Jazz, and the Hornets, only have 1 quality game for the week. So, if you were debating, what do I do with Moussa Diabate? Do I feel super excited about the big Areola, Con Knibble? Well, you probably should hold on to him. What about, is it worth me holding Dylan Harper for maybe 1 game's worth of action? Streaming in Jalen Tyson? What about holding on to Taylor Hendricks, Kyle Filipowski? Ace Bailey? You're not even going to use them. You got to look, am I stashing or am I trying to get something out of them? Because the value is just not there during that week. What is interesting and what is important is the stream zone. And I am going to come back and talk to you about the stream zone after this, because today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, but every day. Locking in every opening, beating your PR, and then beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options and futures and crypto all on one platform. And you can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that is robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. And with the basketball season heating up, the NBA Cup underway, there is nothing that beats being in the arena live to watch these games. And getting tickets, though, it can be a total headache. You're waiting in queues, you've got surprise fees, prices that might jump up right before you check out. It can be easy to be annoyed by all of that stuff, and that's where Game Time comes in. The app that gives you the advantage as a fan, the ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. They've got the zone deals as well, which are a game changer. Picking the section, so Game Time picks the seats and gives you a better price on it. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Now we can get in and talk about the streaming, the stream zone, where we can get value out of roster spots on our team for this week and the way that the NBA schedule is set up. So we can, again, we're not going incredibly hard on streaming at this point. We're not even at desperation stakes, even if you've lost the first 2 weeks. You're not at desperation time yet. You can get, with the assumption that Wednesday and Friday are non-streaming days, you can get 5 games out of 1 roster spot. But here's what I want to talk about, because the easy way to look at this schedule is to go, well, the Clippers and the Suns, easily, yeah? I make one ad, and I get them Tuesday, I get them Thursday, and I get them Saturday. It's easy. Why do you need to tell me any more than that, Josh? Well, there is more to it. Like, I can tell you, the Clippers are good because they also have the Monday, Tuesday back-to-back. And Kawhi, by the way, said he's playing the back-to-back. So you can, like, if you want, use one move and get 4 quality games from a Clippers player Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Then you've got 3 other moves for the week, and you use 1 more of those on Sunday. You turn 1 roster spot then into 5 games. And if one of those roster spots is a fringe Hornets player, Colin Sexton, maybe it is Con Knipple, not Ryan Cockbrenner, but Moussa Diabate, they've got 2 games. You can turn 2 into 5 plus 3 for the week. That's the best you're going to do. Is it? Yeah, it's the best you're going to do. Also, it's the best you're going to do because, actually, it's one actually actionable game from those fringe Hornets guys. So you turn 1 into 5. But you could also drop a Spurs player. You could also drop a Jazz player. You could drop a Cavs guy and turn 1 into 5. All right, the Clippers is fine. But it's not just as simple as that. We've got 4 moves for the week usually. You can, if you want, instead of doing the Clippers, because the Clippers options aren't good. Brook Lopez, Derek Jones, Chris Dunn, they're not that good. Look, I wouldn't be excited there. If someone dropped Bradley Beal, do you think he's going to play all 4? I don't. Your options for the Clippers aren't really strong. So while you do get 4 games for the price of 1, useful, you are probably still going to be left. It's like going into an auction draft and, I've got, look at these values. And you're sitting there with $20 in your pocket. Go, maybe I should have done something better with it. A little bit of that, I think, applies here. And the same with the Suns. Now, the Suns are actually like full of stream options. Gillespie and O'Neale, even Dunn to a degree. Grayson Allen's available in every league, basically. And you can stream those guys through with their 3 games on those 3 quality days in a row, and that's useful. But what I like to do is look at, is there ways to open it up? And there is. You can attack a different Monday, Tuesday back-to-back if you want. The Clippers do play one. Absolutely they do. But so do the Milwaukee Bucks. So that gives you an option. Is there a Bucks player that you want? Now, there might not be. Kyle Kuzma, but Gary Trent, Big Boom AJ Green, Ryan Rollins is a must roster. Cole Anthony. Like, that's 3 other options that I think would be preferable to Beal, preferable to Jones, and preferable to Lopez. Then, obviously, on Thursday, you got to get a Sun player or you've got to get a Clippers player. And again, it does seem stupid to say maybe you only add those for one day. And you can do it so that the Suns guys if you add them if they're available, an O'Neale or a Gillespie, you get them Thursday, Saturday. They're way better than the Clippers options. But I'm just giving you a different way of approaching it. Because if you just did a single stream on the Thursday of Suns Clippers, then you can then attack the weekend back-to-back, which is the Pacers, where there's just random guys popping off at all points. And you've got the Sixers, where it might be a Quentin Grimes, it might be a Adem Bona, who you can look at there. So it's just going to depend who's available. It probably will be worth your while to look at those Bucks streamers Monday, Tuesday, a Suns streamer Thursday, Saturday, and then just take your pick on Sunday. And you're still getting 5 games with 1 roster spot and 3 moves. Again, I don't want you to, because look, if you look at it and say, okay, well, I'm going to add someone Monday, then I'll get the Clippers and Suns Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then I'll get a single player Sunday, you're still using 3 moves to max out the 5 spots. The other way is the Clippers with 4 games, 1 move, and then a Sunday for 2 moves. But again, is the Clippers 4 games, is it worth it? The only benefit to it is preserving an extra move. But I think you can do better with 3 moves than just focusing on those teams. It's the easy way. It's the simple way, is by looking at the Clippers and the Suns. But you can actually do better. We want 5 games, 3 moves. That gives us the best streaming result while also giving us a little bit more long-term appeal. I think that's that's how I believe it's best for us to approach it. Let's look at some schedule quirks. What are the little things across the week that are going to be important to us here? 2 teams do not play on the weekend. Utah and Charlotte. Charlotte, of course, with only 2 games total, but the Jazz do not play on the weekend. Now, there's a lot of Jazz players that you may have held. Bailey, Sensabaugh, Filipowski, Hendricks. Just don't. You don't need to, and you're going to have a bad situation for them this week. 2 teams, who only have the 1 quality game this week, do not play until Wednesday on a high-volume day, and that's Cleveland and San Antonio. So, like, if you've got a Cavs guy and you're trying a Lonzo Ball or a Jalen Tyson because players are out, don't. This might be like if Dylan Harper, you're not feeling super good about it and you want to make a move, and I'm not suggesting you have to do that. But if you do, like, this is the time to do it because you're not losing huge amounts from him. There's also a couple of periods during the week where teams play 1 game in 5 nights. Obviously, with only 2 games on, the Hornets will be one of those. It's between Wednesday and Sunday. But the Knicks also, low-key, terrible schedule. Between Thursday and Saturday, 1 game. Now, who's your Knicks guy? Mitchell Robinson? Josh Hart, is this the sign to drop Josh Hart? Probably. Well, the sign is he's terrible, but is this the sign the schedule plays into it too? And then the Knicks also, between Thursday and Saturday, just don't play. 3 days off. The only team this week that has 3 days off. Let's look at some other ways that the schedule looks during the week. 3 games in 4-night periods between Sunday and Wednesday. There's a lot, so we're heavy loaded at the start of the week. Brooklyn, the Lakers, Memphis, Miami, New Orleans, New York, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, and Utah. So 3 games in 4 nights, kicking off the week. Remembering, though, that Wednesday has 11 games on. Between Monday and Thursday, the Clippers, we know this. They've got the 3 games in 4 nights, avoiding the 11-game day. Thursday to Friday, Oklahoma City and Golden State. But 2 of those days, Wednesday and Friday, are high-volume days. Between Wednesday and Saturday, Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, Miami, San Antonio, and Washington. But again, 2 of the days in there are high-volume days, meaning the importance of them is just not there. If you want to go a little bit longer in terms of our view, there are a few bunches of teams that play 4 games in 6 nights. Between Sunday of week 2 through to Friday, it's Brooklyn, Memphis, Miami, Oklahoma City, and Utah, 4 games in 6 nights. Between Monday to Saturday, these are all 4-game teams that are done by Saturday. Dallas, Denver, Clippers, Miami, Washington. And then there are teams that don't play Monday but still have 4 games in 6 nights to end the week. Golden State, Oklahoma City, and the Philadelphia 76ers. But that's not all. We do have a 5-game in 7-night popping its head up, and that is between Sunday and Saturday, and that's the Miami Heat. So, if you are looking at the Miami Heat, that's interesting, but also remember that this is where the discussions, if you're only taking in small parts of the picture, you can run into problems. Because 5 games in 7 nights sounds great for Miami. That's awesome. Who am I going to stream in? I've got to keep Kal-El Ware then. I've got to add little Chungus Nikola Jovic. I can't drop Davion Mitchell. Maybe Pele Larson's the guy because Norman Powell's out. I've got to really hold on to Jaime Jaquez, which I think you should. But during the week, 2 of their games are on Wednesday and Friday. So is it 5 games in 7 nights? Like, technically it is. But do you get those? You probably don't. Probably get 3 in 7 nights. And then, who cares? Because there's a bunch of other teams you can find that have better schedules and a bunch of other players who become better versus like if you have the idea of, I've got to get a Heat player, it's 5 games in 7 nights here. You're cutting yourself off from getting a Clippers guy who's got 4 quality games in 7 nights, a Suns player who's got 4 quality games in 7 nights, the Hawks who have 3 there, the Bulls have 3, the Lakers have 3, the Sixers have 3, the Raptors have 3, exactly the same as Miami. So it's not always about just pure volume. It's got to be executionable volume. It's got to be usable volume. There's a few situations with 5 games in 8 nights as well. Between Sunday of week 2 and Sunday of week 3. Brooklyn, Memphis, Miami, Oklahoma City, and Philadelphia. And then starting on Monday of week 3 through to Monday of week 4, Dallas, Detroit, the Clippers, Miami, Milwaukee, Minnesota, and Washington. So heavy parts of the schedule for these teams. And then we look lastly at a 6-game in 9-night run. And of course, that is the Miami Heat. From Sunday of week 2 through to Monday of week 4, the Heat play 6 games. So they've got the Sunday game. They've got 4 games during the week of week 3. And they play on Monday. Also understanding that they only have 2 qualities during the week in week 3. So again, this is heavy for Miami. But is it enough for it to matter for you? I can't answer that. I can just provide the context and you have to look to see whether that makes sense on your particular team with how your particular roster is structured. We are going to come back and have a bit of a chat about weekly leagues and guys that we can add for real strong value this week and what we do with the 2-game Hornets as well. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Rugiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't fix a problem, right? You can hear the excuses, I'm stressed, I'm tired, happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs that little bit of extra support, and that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it easy to get started. You connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online with no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. And if you get it prescribed, it's sent to your door discreetly in a discreet little package. Visit Rugiet.com, rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA for 15% off your first order. That is rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use the code LockedOnNBA so that they know that we sent you. Rugiet. Stop making excuses and start making moves. Lastly, we're going to look at weekly leagues. So a weekly league is a league not that has a matchup for a week, but where you set your lineup at the start of the week and then you can't touch it. So you've got to make moves where quality games don't matter. Streaming doesn't matter. You're just looking to see where the volume sits to get some extra guys in. And I've got some players here who are available in over 65% of Yahoo leagues who have incredibly good schedules. And honestly, most of these guys have value for longer than this week. Quentin Grimes. Pretty obvious. We will figure it out. We will figure it out when both Paul George and Jared McCain return. It might not be good for Grimes, but we'll figure it out. Hello, Jarris Walker. I believe he's going to have a pretty decent run at things here. Now, Obi Toppin is done. I do not think he is coming back. But Walker is not replacing Toppin in the starting lineup. Remember that. He is replacing either Mathurin or Nembhard, however you want to phrase it. So when 1 or 2 of those guys come back, Walker could easily move to the bench. But he still should be able to play close to 30 minutes. But for now, I don't think that their return is imminent. So have a look at him. Jarris is a good option. Josh Minor, yeah, you know what? Yesterday it was bad. I'm not really worried about it. I still think he's a good player. They're undefeated since he's been starting. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I think he's a good fantasy player who's a solid NBA rotation guy. Because I don't want to be accused, you hype him up so much. You love this guy. Someone told me I was getting paid by the Celtics to provide PR for Josh Minor. Like, what are you talking about? I don't think that he's a good player. I think that he can be a solid, serviceable rotation piece who's got a game that's incredibly friendly for fantasy category leagues. Not so much points leagues. Not as good in points leagues. Nowhere near as good. He's not a volume guy. But 8.6 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 1 block, 1.5 threes. That is actually useful. Just hitting bits across the board. 2 assists, 3 assists. And I do think that we will get him starting these games. Foul trouble was annoying. Cost him 5-6 minutes to begin last game. Right? But I do believe that you hold on to Minor. Neemias Queta, I don't think that he's losing that spot really anytime soon, even though minutes were low last game. And then, this is one that's for deeper. It's under 10% rostered on Yahoo. I don't think that Zach Edey's coming back this week. Memphis is clearly a complete mess. So the big fella, Josh Lloyd, he's actually putting up numbers which are okay. And when you multiply them by the games played this week, when we're talking about half the league not playing that many games, and it doesn't matter that Memphis only has 2 quality games. If there are 17 teams playing 4 games, that means that 13 are not. So that extra run, that is 33% more than a 3-game team. It is 100% more than a 2-game team. And Landale's already on the fringes of like 14-team value. But if you give you a 1-week boost, that's why, again, when we talk, again, just a bit of a sidebar here. And I think interjecting this sort of idea of strategy and the idea of value in players through the season is important, because I think these reminders are useful. The vast majority of us, 95% of us, I would say, play in head-to-head fantasy leagues. Roto is a very great fantasy format. I love it. I'm in 2 Roto leagues this season. I really like it, but it's not for everybody. And I understand when 95% of you are playing. That's head-to-head leagues. But like I've said a million times, the way that rankings or valuations are pushed at you is pushed at you from a Roto perspective, which from a head-to-head point of view means nothing to you. It doesn't mean a thing. And what do I mean by that? I mean is that we play head-to-head. It's a weekly matchup against an opponent where an individual player might play 3 games or 4 games. So inherently, insane variance, ridiculous variance, which over 25 weeks usually evens itself out, even though there is year-to-year variance that's a problem too. But that evens out. But over a week, the variance in this stuff is crazy. And when you look at a schedule, even if you're looking at over a 2-month period, if someone plays 3 more games than somebody else, who cares? It doesn't matter. But if someone is playing 33% more games, 33% more minutes over a week, that is bloody big. It's a big difference. Think about that over the course of a season, right? If you were to talk about someone playing, let's just make it easy. If someone played, let me figure out the number as I just try. I don't want to give you bad math here. Oh, here we go. All right. If someone plays 50 games for a season, you go, only 50 games. If someone plays 75 games, right? You go, well, he's always there. Look how much value I got extra. That's the same difference between a 3-game player and a 4-game player during a week. I know it's only 1 game, but it is the same difference. It is the same multiplier effect. So when we talk about rankings and the value of long-term things, when it all evens out, it's something, right? But it doesn't apply to the majority of us. 33% extra, I'm still talking Jock Landale here, amazingly, 33% extra, 50% extra, 70 games versus 35 games for a season is an insane difference. And we might scoff at Landale as an option. But if you're playing 33% more than about 40% of the league, and you're a starter, don't completely knock it. Don't completely knock it. I hope that little tangent helps. And it's part of why I developed Durant and more importantly, Durant head-to-head as a ranking format, because I could go on, and I will during the week, don't worry, when we talk about the follies of 9-cat rankings and how absolutely stupid they are. You can see it on my Twitter already. I posted up where Simone Fontecchio is rated 80 spots higher than Zion and Pascal Siakam as a top 75 player. Surely reflects what he's done. Let's talk about the 1-2-game team, the Charlotte Hornets. So who do you start? Who do you sit? Just LaMelo. Just LaMelo. And even him, borderline. But I would start him. I wouldn't start Miles Bridges. I'm obviously not starting Brandon Miller. I'm not whipping out the big cock, Ryan Cockbrenner. I'm not starting Colin Sexton or the big Areola. It's ball. That's it. The others, forget them. Don't worry about it. You're not doing it. Guys, that is a weekly preview show for week 3. We will have a Sunday specific streaming show coming out later today. And I think that today we will end my streak of daily recap shows. There will not be a Saturday night recap show. I'm taking the day off. Again, you should all find my missus, and if you ever see her anywhere, drop in the comments. Some of you have probably seen her on my socials and say, hey, thanks for going away at the start of the NBA season, so Josh has got nothing to do on the weekends and he can record recaps on the first 2 Friday nights, because that's what's happened. So, drop that in there if you find her. I'm not going to tell you, but if some of you may. Subscribe, thumb up, bang, hype. Guys, we are done here. Go Dodgers, I guess. Go Blue Jays. Go my man, Evan Phillips. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.